He suddenly thinks, maybe Mr. Kim really has nowhere else to spend Christmas. And, clenching his jaws, Jungkook exhales loudly, mentally cursing himself for what he's about to say. Wait, he softly calls, swallowing hard, noticing how the man immediately freezes in place, glancing back at him. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, his inner voice pleads. But another voice argues, remember how many times he came to help you. Remember who you lived with all this time, Jungkook? Yes, Taehyung asks quietly, reminding him of his presence, and the boy exhales heavily. Are you hungry, Mr. Kim? Taehyung smiles at him faintly. Are you inviting me? I can't believe you came all the way to Waldenburg to delight in an invitation to dinner at my house. Jungkook shakes his head as Taehyung climbs the steps again, returning to him and finally standing in front of the boy. This wasn't planned, I swear, the man says, clearing his throat. I hopped on my plane, not entirely sure where I was headed, and then, while narrating how the poor loner made his way here on a private jet, you're making me reconsider and kick you out, Mr. Kim. I promise, I'll zip it. Taehyung chuckles softly, nodding in agreement. In a defensive move, he raises his hands as if surrendering. But, Jungkook, I've got nowhere else to. It's okay, the boy interrupts him immediately, mustering a forced smile. It's okay, I understand. You just can't bear a day without me, and all that. It happens, after all, it's me. Taehyung laughs silently, nodding again, and Jungkook exhales subtly. Thankfully, he thinks, he quickly figured out how to turn everything into the semblance of a joke. Because he knows he shouldn't allow Taehyung or anyone else to verbalize such sentiments. And words aren't required at all to grasp that the man genuinely had no other place to go on this holiday. As much as Jungkook desires to spend it exclusively with his family, he simply can't fathom leaving this man alone in the midst of Christmas night. One condition, Jungkook freezes, turning abruptly and nearly colliding noses with him. Yeah, my family is inside, Mr. Kim. So behave yourself and don't utter a word unless prompted. And keep your hands to yourself, for God's sake. He adds the last part almost in a whisper, and Taehyung nods, grinning at him. And then the man takes the bag back from him. I promise, baby, my hands will stay in respectable places. Well, and in disreputable ones, only if you ask Mr. Kim. Taehyung grins, seemingly quite pleased with himself, studying him appreciatively. And Jungkook, it seems, has cursed himself at least a dozen times already for not letting him leave. The boy inhales sharply, giving Taehyung a stern look that borders on disbelief. Don't push it, Mr. Kim, he warns, his tone carrying a mix of exasperation and a hint of amusement. Despite the attempt at maintaining a detached demeanor, there's a flicker of something deeper in Taehyung's eyes, a complexity that Jungkook can't quite decipher. Taehyung chuckles, a low, throaty sound that resonates in the confined space of the porch. Wouldn't dream of it, darling, he replies, feigning innocence while sliding his hands into his pockets, the mischievous glint in his eyes undiminished. As Taehyung steps closer, he pulls his mask back into place, the confident smirk returning, as if he's slipping back into a familiar role. Jungkook watches him, the playfulness replaced by a knowing gaze. He thinks can see through the act, recognizing the vulnerability beneath a confident exterior. Despite the banter and the bravado, Jungkook senses a layer of gratitude in Taehyung's eyes. Gratitude for being allowed this temporary reprieve, this respite from the shadows that followed him. Jungkook? Jungkook, where's my potato? A girlish voice echoes from deep within the house, and Jungkook squints, exhaling tiredly. Lord, give him strength to get through this evening. Come in, the boy whispers, holding the door for both of them, and once again, he takes the bag from Taehyung's hands. You can hang your coat here. And leave your shoes as well. I have to take off my shoes. Taehyung raises his eyebrows in surprise. Jungkook responds with a hint of annoyance. We don't walk around the house in dirty shoes, Mr. Kim. Please leave everything here, in the hallway. Taehyung nods, conceding, but still removes his coat. Then he glances around for a hanger, slightly perplexed. Jungkook? Where can I find hangers to put? But the moment he looks at the boy and gets a waiting gaze in an arched eyebrow, Taehyung decides not to finish what he was saying. Okay. Yeah, of course. I can leave it here. He quickly hangs the coat on a hook and then, without further questions, swiftly takes off his shoes. First time seeing you in jeans, Jungkook murmurs, nodding to invite Taehyung to follow him, and strides towards the kitchen. And when did you decide to change your style? Exactly. Taehyung follows, glancing around every now and then. Everything seems so, he thinks. As if Jungkook's whole life is just as tiny as he is. Fragile, unprotected, and even a bit weak if he's honest with himself. They quickly traverse the corridor, and as soon as they enter the kitchen, Taehyung witnesses a switch flipping inside Jungkook. He observes Jungkook in his familiar environment, darting between the dining table and kitchen cabinets, arranging the desserts Taehyung brought, tossing the bag into the trash, rummaging through a cabinet for a clean plate, and swiftly serving food onto it. Then, extracting cutlery from a drawer, he hands it all to Taehyung, heading back to the stove to fulfill the promised potatoes for his sister. And Kim can only follow every rapid movement with his eyes, bewildered, and then looks down at the plate full of food in his hands. Why are you standing there? Jungkook suddenly appears in front of him, holding another plate. What? Let's go. My sister has been waiting for her damn potatoes for about 10 minutes now. And my dinner is getting cold on the table. Wait, Taehyung smiles at him with the corner of Taehyung's mouth, blocking the boy's exit from the kitchen. So, are we having dinner with your entire family? Jungkook lets out a disdainful snort. Ugh, drop the act, he retorts. You knew exactly where you were headed, Mr. Kim. You were well aware I'd be spending the time with my family. I knew, alright? It's just, how do you plan on presenting me? Jungkook gives Taehyung a swift, assessing glance, then fixes his gaze on Taehyung's eyes. As a homeless guy who decided to risk a night on the streets on Christmas? No worries, my mom always drilled into me the importance of helping those in need, so I won't turn my back on you. Jungkook strides past Taehyung, confidently leaving the kitchen. Taehyung chuckles quietly, nods, and trails behind him. This is Jungkook. Exactly what Taehyung needed on such a ludicrous and intricate day. Jungkook, with his unfiltered honesty, soothing voice, clad in casual attire, comfortably navigating through the environment. And if winning him over means enduring some time in a decrepit house in the heart of Michigan, Taehyung figures he can handle it. Attempting to catch up with the boy, Taehyung tries not to fall too far behind. He finally catches up in the archway leading to the living room. Finally, I'm practically starving, echoes the voice of a girl with a distinct rural twang. Where's my potato? Bro, thought you could move your little ass and get it yourself. You know, Jungkook retorts as he approaches the couch from behind, handing his sister a brimming plate. Only when she turns to look at him does she notice the additional presence in the room. Jungkook, she furrows her brow. This guy doesn't look anything like grandma and grandpa. The unexpected comment from the girl directs Mom and Lee's attention to the same spot. Jungkook would be dishonest if he claimed it didn't cause a slight blush. How does he explain to everyone who this man is and why he's here on Christmas? Sure, the homeless guy joke might have been a momentary amusement, but what does he actually tell them? He hasn't had a moment to think it through. Jungkook, Kook, Mom calls, puzzled as she scrutinizes the unfamiliar face. Sweetie, won't you introduce your guest to us? Jungkook bites his lip, stealing a quick glance at Taehyung, who stands in the doorway with a plate in hand. This is Taehyung, he stumbles. He flew in from New York. Quite accidentally. Jungkook can almost hear the resonance of Taehyung's laughter playing in his thoughts. Hello, Taehyung. Lee enthusiastically shatters the awkward quiet, her hand waving in the air. Want a taste of the salad that Jungkook made? Taehyung smirks, a subtle nod accompanying his response. Oh, absolutely, Joya interjects, her tone carrying a trace of mock offense. You forgot to do the honors, Jungkook. Jungkook rolls his eyes at her, teasingly sticking out his tongue before turning to Taehyung. Let me introduce you to my family. This is Joya. He gestures towards the older girl, who greets him with a peace sign and a casual hey. And this is Lee. He nods towards the younger one, who gleefully waves and chimes again. Hello, Taehyung. Hello, Lee. Hello, Joya. Taehyung greets them with a warm nod. Nice to meet you, and this is my mom, Jungkook adds, clearing his throat. Good evening, Mrs. Jeon. Please, take a seat, dear. She gestures towards the couch. Taehyung, casting a slightly awkward glance at Jungkook, moves towards the offered spot. Without much delay, Jungkook follows him, settling between Jeon and Taehyung. So, Taehyung, Jungkook mom continues, her tone a bit uncertain, how did you end up here? Jungkook blushes, poking at his plate with a fork. It's a long story, Mom, not now, please. I hope no one minds that you'll be staying with us tonight. It just, kinda happened. We are always delighted to have guests, darling, the woman reassures. I'm genuinely grateful you've allowed me to spend this evening with you, Mrs. Jeon, Taehyung adds with a polite smile. It all unfolded quite unexpectedly, and I didn't want to intrude. Oh, come on, it's no bother, she dismisses it, chuckling softly. We just don't have guests over very often. By the way, you have a wonderful house, Taehyung compliments again, his expression friendly. It's very cozy. Wonderful, huh? Jungkook scoffs internally. Knowing Taehyung's living situation, it's challenging for him to believe these words are genuine.